pandemic got us into a reflective space and made us look inward to see what we can do for the world at large. As a self-expression coach, I became a catalyst for women and started Vani, a one-on-one coaching program for women on finding their voice, to speak up, to be visible. As a storyteller, I spotted there were many ordinary people amongst us leading extraordinary lives, making a difference to the world, and they needed to be heard. Thus was born You and I with Rashmi Shetty, where amazing personal journeys with their uniqueness and individuality are showcased, a reaffirmation of the fact: open your eyes wider. The world is far more beautiful when we acknowledge the presence of both you and I. Our guest today is Dr. Saloni Singh, a former gynecologist turned life and self-mastery coach and leadership development facilitator. She's been working as a coach for more than 13 years now to help people globally to enhance mental, emotional, and spiritual well-being and handle common life challenges like stress, anxiety, overwhelm, and relationship conflicts. Saloni is the author of a handbook, How to Stop Overthinking in 3 Minutes, and hosts a podcast. You can read her blogs at salonisingh.com. She's a mindfulness trainer and meditation teacher as well, who aspires to close the gap between the spiritual and material world and help people live a more wholesome life. Listen in as Saloni shares her amazing definition of a fulfilled life and why social media breaks are so important to connect with your highest state. Hi, Saloni. Such an amazing moment now for me, because I think my request to you was a year ago. And to see that it took a whole 365 days to actually get down to speak to you is something that I find absolutely magical. So, welcome to You and I with Rashmi Shetty. And I'm eager to know your story, Saloni, from little Saloni to the Dr. Saloni Singh the world knows you as.
Thank you so much. Thank you so much, Rashmi. First of all, for your patience. A lot has been going on, to be honest, in last 1 year, both professionally as well as personally. So I think I just feel so humbled and so grateful that you waited and you're ready to meet me again when I could. So I'm so happy to be here. Yeah, really looking forward to a conversation.
So I'm, like I said, very curious to know, because I always have seen you as this calm person, absolutely serene, in Zen mode. How were you as a little girl? Were you always like this? And what has your journey been like?
To be honest, I would say pretty much I was like this since I was a young girl. So I was very quiet, actually very shy, though the conversation part has drastically changed being a coach and a trainer and a speaker. But as a young girl, I would speak very less. So I remember like people telling me, oh my God, she doesn't speak at all. And my elder sister was extremely talkative and extrovert. So there used to be a lot of comparisons. She talks too much. She doesn't talk at all. So that I've heard that a lot. And I think till ninth grade, I mean, I was really quiet. And the shift happened, I think, I don't know what happened in ninth. I started to perform on stage and do take participate, participate in speeches, competitions, all that thing. Suddenly, and my teachers were really happy to see that, the shift. I think it was just literally like coming out of my shell. And I don't know how it happened, to be honest. It's just happened that I was ready, maybe. And that's what I believe as well when I work with parents, that sometimes these children do take their own time, the way they want to do things. And before that, I just loved study, daydreaming. I would love to watch sky and all these things. very, very inquisitive, very curious child. And that's when I actually realized, when I was thinking to change my career, I think I could see the seeds were there in my childhood. I was very, spiritual in the sense that I used to ask a lot of questions like why we are born, why we are here, what are we here to do. So all these things, I think I was feeling intrigued about since I was a very young girl, very, very young age. Yeah.
And where did you grow up, Saloni? And who were you asking these questions to?
Wonderful question. So I think I didn't have anybody who would answer. I did ask my mother sometimes, but I think I was just in my head and talking to, as I mentioned, I used to love sleeping under the stars. So, and I was very fortunate as a child. Like, if you know, if you're from my generation, so you know, in our houses we used to have this angan, which is open. So most of the summers, at least all of the summers, I remember sleeping there, and I was just look at the stars. I just wonder about all these questions for long, in the night especially. Same in the daytime after school, in the afternoons in winter, we would just sit there and do all our homework, and so in the sun. So I would do that. Sometimes I would ask my mother, but I don't think she had many answers. She used to read Gita though, and a lot of stories she used to tell us. So I don't know. I don't know whether I got any answers from that or not. and I was born, you asked me, I was born in Jhajjar. It's a very small town in Haryana. And my schooling was from there itself. And then for my graduation, I went to Rohtak, which is a nearby district, from medical college for my graduation and my post graduation in gynecology.
So, what prompted you to take medicine? Because you're a good student in school, it was a very automatic choice to move into engineering medicine, or was medicine a draw because of some influence as a kid?
No, no, absolutely. I just fell into it because at our age, if you're a good student, which I was, I just loved to study, and I was a scholar. So it was this natural, automatic that either I'm gonna become, an engineer or doctor. So I took actually both maths and biology in 11th grade because I wasn't sure till 11th what do I want to do. But in 11th, I did so bad in maths because the classes were happening at the same time. So half of the days I would attend maths, half of the days I would attend biology. I was totally messed up. And then my parents also realized because my scores from 90s, they went straight away down to 60s, and they were like, what happened to you? I'm like, I don't know. So I realized that I didn't enjoy maths that much. I actually hated it in 11th. So, and same was for the physics. So I thought, okay, biology, that's a choice, and did in medical college. But I think in first year of medical college, I realized that, okay, I just came here, but this is not something for me. That realization happened itself, I think, in the first year, though I doubted myself because I was already there. But that realization did happen that I'm in the wrong place. I constantly felt
But
that.
what hit you? What triggered that conversation with the self?
So now, when I look back retrospectively, I realize I was in love with studies. I would just love studying. Studying was something I absolutely enjoyed. I mean, my children really hate it when I tell them, like, how could you enjoy? I'm like, I don't know. But my mom tells stories like I would do my homework again and again. She would say, go play. You've already done it. I'm like, no, 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 one more time. So I would do it like revise things 4 or 5 times, not because I didn't know. Actually, I love studying, and I can see now as a coach. I mean, I read a lot, I study a lot. But when I reached medical college, suddenly that changed. Everything changed for me. I realized that I had no interest in the subjects. So they started to become like a burden just because I had to pass, I was studying. So I at that time I didn't realize. I thought there's something wrong with me. That's what I thought in the beginning. That I don't know why I'm losing interest in studying, and I was really just coping, and always scored well. So it wasn't a choice to to fail or not to score well. So I just kept working hard. Maybe I need to work hard, but the truth is that the interest was lost. So I wasn't enjoying the subjects. So that was a problem, and that made me feel that, yeah, something is wrong. I'm in the wrong place. Why I'm losing interest? Yeah.
Okay, and after 5.5 years of medicine, you went ahead and did your post graduation in gynecology, a subject that keeps you awake through the night as much as through the day. You took the most difficult subject and you continued your post graduation as well.
To be honest, I wanted to take psychiatry because one thing I realized in medical college and my interest in psychology. So I realized in 11th, my roommate, I was in a hostel, and my roommate had psychology, and I used to love reading her books. So that realization happened. And in medical college, when I would go to library, I remember first time picking books of Stephen Covey, books of J. Krishnamurti. So I realized my interest in that. So I thought, okay, at least I can take psychiatry. But when the results came out, in India we have entrance system. So there was only one seat for psychiatry, and everybody was surprised that the topper, the person who had the first, place, took psychiatry, and that never happens because usually people take very lucrative branches, like orthopedic surgery. So the only choice left for me was either medicine or gynecology. I used to love surgery. So that was one of the interests I had recognized. So I thought, okay, gynecology is good because I get to do surgery, and so I thought it would be good. Gynecology is, oh yeah, that's a perfect, for women, it's a wonderful branch because that's how, we have been taught what is lucrative, what is good, which is in demand. So you go for that. So I did gynecology, and to be honest, I enjoy it. I mean, you know those sleepless nights delivering one after another, conducting deliveries, conducting cesareans. I enjoyed a few years of that, but somewhere I knew this is not something I can do all of my life. That was very clear to me from the beginning, that I can't keep on going because I'm enjoying, but I could see that it wasn't enough challenging, enough fulfilling for me, because I would love to do something new, and then next day I would be like, what next? That spark wasn't there, I would say.
Okay. And you never thought of going back to psychiatry, trying again for psychiatry? You said, okay, fine, what next? But psychiatry never prompted again?
So again, because post graduation is very tough, to be
Tough,
honest.
yeah, yeah, yeah.
Tough because a few years of it is really tough. Everybody would tell you, like, you can't think of going back to another branch. That would be something really difficult. So what happened? And also I was married by that time, and I had my first baby the moment I finished my post graduation. So my first daughter was already there. So to be honest, there wasn't much time to even think.
And, okay.
That's the truth.
And
And
where were you in Rohtak itself, or you had moved by then?
so after post graduation, I did in Rohtak. I was married already, so my husband got a job in Ludhiana, Oswald Hospital, and I shifted there after my post graduation. I was already a mom, so with my daughter, and I got a job there as a registrar in gynecology. But that's when the things started to shift. So my husband wanted to go to England for fellowship. I followed, of course. I thought I will also do a fellowship in gynecology. I started that as well, did my part one there. And I think that was the seed when I was working in really good hospitals in London. Then I thought, no, I still have that urge, that passion, that something is calling. My heart is telling me this is not what I'm here to do. And I got a break when I was on second maternity leave. So my second daughter was coming, and I had to go on maternity leave before her birth because of some complication. I had a cyst, and I that's when actually I really paused in my life. I think a real pause, that okay, what is it that I want to do in my life? So I looked around. I knew that now second baby is coming. I can't go to university to do 3 year, psychology. That I was very clear. But
Yeah.
I also was clear something to do with psychology, spirituality, mind, body, medicine. So these things were in my mind, and I started to look for careers. And I think universe always makes it happen. Suddenly, advertisement pop up, and it was a life coaching event, free life coaching event for 2 days. So I was like, perfect. Let me go and see. This looks like a combination of everything I'm looking for.
Yeah,
I
yeah.
went there, I think by the end of first day already, I called my husband. I said, I got it, what I'm looking for, and this is what I want to do. So that's how I decided on this path. Yeah.
Okay. And once you started the path, were there any moments where you paused and asked yourself, what am I doing? Or was it like completely in flow with what you were seeking? Was it giving you that what you were searching for?
A very good questions. To be honest, this is something I don't know, learned or cultivated, or was it innate in me? But I'm a person that I have never ever looked back. I don't look back on my past, and especially if never to regret or think, am I doing the right thing? This is not something I ever do, and that's happened because a lot of people ask me. Like my husband kept asking when I was going through a lot of challenges. Of course, I realized that becoming a coach was so much easier. So I just joined this academy, coaching academy in London. I did start my training 2007. My baby was there; it was perfect. I became part time from my gynecology job. I became a part time consultant. It was always going fine, but when I thought of resigning and starting my coaching practice, I had no clue what to do. I was a doctor. I realized I had no business skills. I had no skills how to freelance myself. I had always worked in hospitals where people came to me, patients came to me. So the challenges were there a lot, but I always thought, okay, how do I overcome these challenges? Okay, what is it that I need to learn in order to tell the world that, okay, I have this and I want to serve people? And so I kept going forward. So there were few years, I would say, first 5 years or other, I would say, of my coaching journey where I had a lot of challenges in terms of really reinventing myself, because I had this kind of, I would say, it was a limiting belief. Because I'm a doctor, I don't know how to, become a businesswoman. So I think this was a strong belief I had. And then I worked with my coach, my mentors to, kind of break this belief, dismantle this, and bring to a place that, yeah, I can learn anything I want. If I can learn how to become a great coach, I can learn how to create a thriving practice as well. So I think that shift had to happen for me to move forward. But yeah, I never ever posed to, think like, okay, what am I doing? Because I think I love that challenge. I loved every challenge, coaching brought to me. And I always felt that coaching chose me rather than me choosing it. This is how I felt it. So it's life which life brought it to me. Yeah.
Saloni, here I want you to kind of look inside to answer this question because you were from a background of science where everything is logic visible in front of you. You're getting into a space of spirituality, coaching, metaphysical, where not everything is visible. It's intuitive, all right, but uh, there's not evident proof. Now, how did you logically tell yourself for the shift? Because you were leaving something which was definite to move into a space which was not too clear. So, when you were slowly moving into that space, how did you kind of convince yourself that this is where I need to be and I'm letting go of something which I know is solid?
Very interesting question. Very interesting question. If I'm being honest, Rashmi, I think I had never need to let go of that. Somehow, I think I was very well already connect. I don't know how. It's very difficult to describe how, but to be honest, somehow I knew that science and spirituality are already connected, and it's up to us to be able to see that. Again, I don't know how I knew that, but I know that I knew that. So I was not looking for a reason to convince myself. Rather, I was looking for, like, I love to give evidence whenever I'm coaching or training. I love to study, and I have talked about epigenetics, sciences, my mind body sciences, quantum healing, all these things with my clients, which I bring only to help them understand, because I understand that human mind is logical, and most of the time we are working with left brain. But to be honest, maybe I was right brain. Actually, since childhood, I myself wasn't that left, logical mind. Even when I was becoming doctor, to be honest, I remember when I was connecting the dots, of my life to really understand what career I want to go. When I came to coaching, I realized more than, treating, more than giving medicines to my patients. When I spoke to them, when I was able to help them let go of the stress, that was the most rewarding for me. And even patients would recognize that. I remember a patient, in London coming to me and saying that just talking to you really helped me relieve the anxiety, I have around my surgery. And I realized that that is a very important part of human dimension, which is lacking in medicine. It's not just about, because as they say, the medicine, surgery, everything work better if you have a positive mindset. So I think I was already on that path, and that actually helped me make the transition as well. This is what I would say. So I never had to let go, to be honest, of my logical, because I wasn't very fixative on that. Rather, I was looking for a more holistic approach from the very beginning. I was already, sold on that. I would say that it has to be holistic. I always believe human beings are whole. So the way medicine has put it, body separately from mind, I felt that wasn't a way, and maybe that was the reason for me to, search for something more holistic, which I wasn't maybe finding in medicine. That could be a reason.
So today, when you meet your clients, are you a blend of medicine, the medical doctor, and the mental doctor that you are as a coach? Or are you able to just drop that medical doctor hat? Because it's very natural, Saloni, that when people know you have a medical background, to drop in physical ailments and suggestions for physical well-being also to be coming out of you. Or do your clients not know that medical side of yours? How do you stop that part of you coming out during coaching conversations?
Very interesting question. You have lovely questions, Rashmi. So let me tell you, I don't have any hats. I don't wear any hats. I am just me with my clients. I do more and more of that. And over the years now, it's 15th year of my journey. 2007 was the year I started training, and I've been coaching full time many years. So over the years, I think it's more and more of completely letting go. The journey has been of letting go, and I don't have any hat except just this is me, and the way I see myself is pure unconditional love. If I'm being loved, that's what is imparted to anybody I'm talking to, and that's all they need. This is how I feel, and whatever is needed for their journey, for their progress, their growth, will come out of me. I believe that. So I don't need any hat. This is how I see. And actually, I don't have sometimes it benefits though my clients. So for example, if a client bring a goal around health, then of course I know they also trust me more, because being a medical doctor, I have certain knowledge, I would say, that can come handy in that. Sometimes my clients do talk about things around that, if they are taking help of a doctor, and there are certain areas that happens once in a while, and that comes handy, because I already have some knowledge around that area, and I can help them see this holistically. But other than that, I think it doesn't make any difference really.
Because, getting into a career of medicine is in itself a huge task today. With NEET coming in India, there are so many children, especially kids recently also. Before the exam, the day before the exam, there was a girl who committed suicide just with the tension of taking the entrance exam. And you've been through that entire journey of medical studies, then a postgraduate degree. So there's a lot of studying that a person has to do, and there's a lot of self-talk that happens during those moments of study as well, because the portions are enormous, and you have the limited time to prove you know what you know and still do well. And parents are even more anxious, ambitious, and put their dreams onto the child. Now, since you've been in that space and now you're in this space of coaching, what would you like to tell aspirants who give up even before trying, or who don't make it thanks to the exam, which is very competitive? Like, you have maybe a lakh of seats and 1 lakh seats, and you have 13 lakh people writing. And then you have the quota system, and so very few end up making it. So, what would you like to tell those students who are aspiring but disappointed, and the parents who are aspiring also and want to see it manifested in their children, having been there, done that?
to First of all, I would take a step back before, even before they have started to aspire for that. I would start from there, to be honest. I always ask students, like, try to look within you. What is the reason you're aspiring for? So for example, I have a friend and she was talking about her son aspiring for IIT and going through a lot of mental health challenges because of that. It's a tough exam. And I asked her to just find out what is the reason he's aspiring it to, because a lot of the time it's not your aspiration, it is society's conditioning which the reason you are aspiring, because everybody thinks IIT is the best place or the medical is the best place or this particular college you have, if you go to, you will have a perfect life. It isn't like that. So I think people like me are perfect example of that, who have left their career, because at the end of the day you have to be true to yourself. And sometimes you might feel lost, you might not even know what is it, but if you trust, if you go inwards, connect with yourself, answer will come. So first of all, you have to shed this baggage of society that things have to be a certain way, or I have to do this to have a good life. No, you can have a good life, you will actually have a good life. Start from there, no matter what you do, because good life begins with you being happy. And if you are happy with the profession you're choosing, that's all what matters in the long run. So that is the first step. Why am I aspiring it? Because my parents want me to, because the society thinks it's the right, or do I want to become a doctor or engineer? That's the first step. Now, if you have recognized that and now you are aspiring to become a doctor or engineer, IIT, whatever, now before the exam, the only thing is, of course, practices really help. Simple breathing practices, mindfulness practices, meditation practices, and cultivating the trust that no matter what happens, whether I pass this exam or not, whether I get the college I'm really seeking or I get something lesser than that, I can make a good life. Because the reality is there are children who are studying from the topmost colleges like Harvard or Stanford. Still they might not have the mental well-being, happiness, the life they desire. It's kind of a facade that if you go to the topmost college or if you do everything the way you want, you will be happy. So look for what is in the long run you are looking for. The cracking the exam is not the end, that's just a beginning. So think about it. What is it I'm looking for? If I'm looking for a peaceful, happy life, I'm going to create that happy and peaceful life no matter where I am. And from that foundation, then you just do your best. And then leave the rest. Leave the rest. Simple. And whatever comes, make the most out of it. And for the parents, exactly the same thing. I tell parents that think about where have you come from. Are you living, simple question, are you living a life better than your parents? And I have never met somebody who said, oh, my parents were like, they were so abundant, so rich, and they were so educated, I'm not. They might be happier, more simple life, I believe that. But I've never met, everybody told me, oh, I came from a small place, Hindi medium, and now I'm doing this. What makes you think that your children will not do better than you? They will do better than you. You just have to trust that and give that trust to children rather than imposing your own thinking again, which has come from society, that they have to do this in order to be having a good life.
And now that I heard you repeat fulfill life, I want you to define what a fulfilled life is all about, Saloni.
Okay, that's a very, very interesting question, Rashmi. So I think it's very individual. I can only speak for myself. So for me, a fulfilling life is really living every single day with utmost joy and presence. Because joy doesn't mean that every day I'm going to be very happy. If my child is not well, if something else is going on, my dog is not well currently, he got really sick a couple of days back, something might happen that might make you sad. But if I know in my heart, whatever is happening, I am doing my best in the current situation, I'm being fully present, I'm being the most loving, and certain days I might not be that most loving. Certain days I might be very stressed out because so much is happening, maybe, and I'm not able to keep my calm. Can I forgive myself on that day and then keep coming back to being my loving self? If I can do that, for me, that's living a fulfilling life. And creating my professional goals, my personal goals, with my family, with my profession, that goes side by side, of course. But I think if I'm living every day as a fulfilling day, that becomes much more easier for me to create as well.
Another very important element, especially now, since the pandemic hit is pause and reflection. Okay, so every one of us went into a pause mode. Nature became our biggest teacher. She taught us so many things about life and how to make sure that we live every moment, enjoy every moment. We understood the fickleness of life, and we understood whatever we are aspiring to do and what we want to do, we can do only in this life as long as we are alive. So it's all about the now, like you just said. What have your reflections of the pandemic been, Saloni?
Yeah, good questions. Very good questions. So I am a strong advocate of taking pauses anyway. I mean, I don't know whether you follow me, but if you follow me for 5 years, I have been, regularly taking breaks, like complete digital break. I do at least twice, and recently, actually, I did a one whole month break. It was a break to just learn how to just learn the art of doing nothing. And COVID itself, as you said, gave all of us a reason to take that pause. So I think the very first thing what I have realized during COVID and over all of these years is it's very important to slow down in life. Extremely important to slow down, because unknowingly, without us realizing, we are like literally running as if it's a race. We're constantly running, even if we are taking pauses time to time, but the speed is so much. Somewhere we have been conditioned to believe that we have to stay with the speed. The truth is, we have to actually rather take a pause, reflect, and keep resetting. Come to the rhythm of life itself, not the society. Is different, because society is always pushing for hustle culture, for keep going, very rush. But I think we miss so much, and that's the second lesson which comes from slowing down, paying attention to what is really important. What is really important. So sometimes we think, okay, if a message is coming, I have to apply social media, I have to apply to the comments, or this I have to, some invitations are coming, or whatever is happening in our world, we feel like an urge to instantly reply, and that is, it's become a need more of. So I think it's more about really noticing what is really important, because how much we can manage, to, because there's so much inputs in our lives. So I think that's very important, to be able to see what is truly important, to be able to prioritize your life around that, and taking care of that first. Because sometimes it is the other way around. We are just, running, like headless chickens, and then later we realize, oh my god, I missed on, talking to my daughter. I know for me, both my daughters are teenagers. That is one extremely important part of my life on a daily basis, to connect with them at least 20-30 minutes, where just I feel they had the heart to heart talk with me. Something is bothering them, they can share with me. Just an example. And if I'm running too much, I know I can't have that space. And then sometimes after days, you realize, oh, I just missed that. Maybe they were upset about something, sad about something. And then that opportunity sometimes is gone if you're not present. So that's very important thing. Also, the third thing is going within. So a lot of time we are looking for answers, for happiness, for things outside. It's good to have achievements. We love achievements. All of us, we thrive on doing things, on achieving things, and creating. But time to time, it's so important to go within, because the kind of peace you actually connect with, it only, I think, comes from taking a pause and connecting with the stillness within. So that is something I have learned more even in the COVID times. I hope it will stay.
Yes, because I think the perils of losing those lessons are higher with people returning to at least the new normal with a vengeance. But here, Saloni, you just spoke about detoxing, staying away from social media and the digital world. Now, in today's hustle, it's very important to be visible and seen. And so people are confused between being seen and being addicted and just being there. Since you are somebody who consciously takes those breaks, what is it that you would suggest should be part of our inner dialogue in order to stay away and not feel guilty about staying away?
Such a profound question, and it can be very confusing. It can be so confusing, and this is something actually my clients bring to sessions many times. Like, and a lot of time they get they have the realization of the addiction, but somehow we don't want to even look at that. So, and that I have been there. I have been there. That was the reason actually I started these breaks 5 years back, because I realized as if, my hands are moving itself. I'm picking a phone, and before I know, I have opened an app. I've opened my Insta, my LinkedIn, and what am I doing here? So that happened, and that's why I started it. So I think the first and foremost thing is something to do beyond social media, which is to stay connected, very deeply connected to your highest aim in life. That is very important, because social media is just actually, otherwise it can become like a distraction. When we are not connected to our ultimate, I use the word ultimate goal, ultimate aim in life, when we are not connected, it's very easy for us to go in this loop of distraction. So that is one part, staying connected to ultimately what is it that you, for example, if we talk about ourselves, we are coaches. So if my ultimate goal is to become a great coach, to serve people, my clients, to my utmost capabilities, and also I want to get the right people to work with, that's all is my goal, then I would know how much time I need to spend on social media, to just be there, in order that somebody who is looking for a coach like me can get access to me. That's all is required. For that, I'm very clear, I don't have to be there every single day. I don't have to be there for many hours every single day. If I'm posting something, I don't have to check it again and again. So all this will become so clear. What I need is time to time, just give a glimpse of what is it that I'm doing, what do I stand for, or share from my creativity. What is the time kind of things I write. I'm a writer, I'm a blogger, so I do write regularly. But when I'm very clear on this, that through my writing I'm just serving, educating people about what I can do, that's all is the purpose. And for that, on practical note, limiting your time really helps. So coming the practical side of it, so since long time I have made it like a rule to have regular breaks, not just like big breaks. I'm talking about 15 days break, I do twice a year, but also like most of the time I would keep either Saturday or Sunday, which is my day, like again like a detox. I don't open. Usually I keep deleting my apps, by the way, from my phone. So throughout the year, I think it's just a few days I have on my phone my apps. Most of the time I use it from my laptop. And one day at least in a week, no social media at all. That itself gives a lot of time. And then on a daily basis, it's just fixed time. So I have fixed time that I choose one morning and one evening time, where I'm just going to post something or check. And one thing, I have trained my mind to think I don't have to open social media every single day. That is something I did myself, because I realized that's true. I don't have to, because I don't post every single day. It's a choice I've made, and it has worked for me. And I think it works for many, many people. Even if you want to be a content creator who wants to post regularly, you can choose, okay, 4 times in a week, 5 times in a week, whatever works for you. Still, you will have 1 or 2 days where you don't have to create. This is how I think, at least. Again, I can only share my experience. And I have to ask, a lot of people ask me when I take detox, that does it impact your business? Actually, it's the other way around. People might feel strange, but I would say try it, test it, because every single time I've gone on a digital detox, I've come back with a higher number of inquiries. Actually, during the bake itself, there are so many messages, and I even have an assistant who takes care of just to mess people if are looking for appointments, and I get back to every one of them when I'm coming out of break. But I think it has to do, not because I was away, to do the with the energy, because every time you take a break like that, the purpose is to go inwards. Purpose is not I'm just not going on social media. That is just one practical tool. The purpose is to connect more with myself, and during that time I get more time for myself, for meditation, for being really present with myself, my family, my clients. So that, I think, that shift in energy creates a ripple of effect in the universe. I believe that. And that brings naturally more and more of the same energy, more and more clients who are looking for you. So that happens as well. And you have to test it to try to, see this happening.
Wow, this sounds so magical, and it's really, really beautiful because in today's world, everybody feels visibility is very important. If you're there, you are remembered. The moment you go away from visibility and you're not visible to the world, then you're forgotten. So, with the fickle memory of the world around you, to be seen is to be remembered. So, in the midst of that noise, you come with something so beautiful, is by itself so amazing, Saloni. So amazing. And I think, like you said, I think it's the deeper connect with the self and the higher aim, which makes an entire difference in seeing how life itself has a beautiful relationship with you.
Absolutely.
And
It
uh,
reminded me of a mentor of mine long time back. She used to say that universe is our biggest publicist.
yeah.
Somewhere we are relying more on the statistics, on the outside factors, much more than the energy which is connecting us with the source, higher source. And I think that's what I experienced myself.
Wow. Universe is our biggest publicist. What a powerful statement is this? This is going to be my manifestation statement. This is such a beautiful, simple, yet profound statement. That's so true. That's so true. Okay, so we move now. I know that these conversations can go on and on, but we move now to that part of the conversation where we'd love to hear three life lessons that you'd like to leave us with.
Okay, all right. I think a little bit I shared earlier as well. So I think the very first thing, as I mentioned, if you're looking for answers, go within. That's what is one of the biggest life lessons I've learned. And one thing I learned from my one of my mentor, Eckhart Tolle, you might have heard about him. He's
Yeah.
the author of Power of Now, and I was so privileged to attend a lecture with Eckhart in London, and he said something which stayed with me. It took me a few years, to be honest, to really deeply understand. Almost 3 years of meditating on this sentence, but this did change my life. So he said that nothing you will ever do, be, or have, nothing you will ever do, be, or have that will change who you already are. And it took me a long time to realize that I am already what I'm seeking for. And I think it's again, it's not just a concept or a philosophical sentence, it is a deeper knowing no matter who I become. So this is how I describe if I become a very famous coach or a famous author, I'm exactly who I am right now. So that, and a lot of people think that ask me this question. Actually, people have asked me that, will I stop, being ambitious then? Will I become complacent if I feel that way that I'm already, so content and fulfilled with myself? And I again tell them, test it yourself. Because if you look at it, even people like Eckhart Tolle, they are so content and fulfilled, but look how amazing work they're doing in the world. And look at any spiritual teacher, and that is a testimony that actually the only difference is that their inspiration is not coming from the place of now I want to do more to become content, I want to do more to become happy, versus because I'm so happy and content, I want to spread this to the world. So that inspiration come from a different place, but actually you become more ambitious. This is how I feel. But the difference is my ambition is coming from a place of I have experienced something, I have so much love and things to give to people. I want to spread that, I want to give that, not because okay this will make me happy, I'm already happy, and spreading that happiness. So that was I think the biggest life lesson I learned from him. And the third one, I think third one is again linked to this one, that don't do things to become happy, rather be happy and then do whatever you want to do. As they say in Hindi as well, that खुश होने के लिए नहीं करना है, खुश होकर करना है. There is a difference. There's a very subtle difference in that, but that makes all the difference. Because in that one, we're chasing happiness, we're doing things to be happy. And here we are saying, I'm already happy. I can do whatever I want to do now.
That's so beautifully put, Saloni. I'm so glad the universe has put this conversation there because for me, what just stayed and is running at the back of my mind is the universe is your biggest publicist because I feel it goes so much with the principle of surrender. I go back to the Gita whenever I have doubts and questions. And for me, that one phrase that redefined how I live is the phrase in the 11th chapter which says, Nimitta matram bhava sabyasachi, which is merely be my instrument. When Krishna says that, for me, it was the biggest aha of reading the Gita. It was like, it's that simple. All you need to do is completely surrender. The rest will just happen. You're doing nothing at all. So everything is now coming back to that point and it's still resonating. So thank you for this beautiful conversation, Saloni.
I think you concluded it so beautifully, Rashmi. Beautiful conclusion. And it is about that complete surrender. And that comes from faith, complete faith in universe.
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
Beautiful.
Yes, thank you so very much, Saloni. And I think, like all your clients tell you, and I have listened to you, but not spoken at length like this with you. But I think there is such a beautiful calm around you, which automatically reflects on anybody talking to you.
And your questions were so beautiful. I really love talking to you.
Same here. Pleasure, honor having you on You and I with Rashmi Shetty. And God bless you with whatever you're here for and take you higher wherever you want to go or you're meant to be. So, all the very best, Saloni.
Thank you so much, Rashmi. Bye bye.
Bye. With that, we come to the end of this weekly quest of You and I with Rashmi Shetty. Do let us know if you know people who make the world beautiful. Write in to rashmi.thethirdeye@gmail.com. That is rashmi.thethirdeye@gmail.com. Come, let's explore this amazing world together, both you and I.